How do you see the end of those bloody events, and who benefits from the destabilization in the Middle East? Well, everyone plans to benefit out of it, but I don't really think that anyone, any expert or anyone involved or even not involved can even predict anything in this mayhem. Am I right?
That's definitely you 100% right, because the Middle East is a very complicated part of the world where the local mentality is completely different and completely out of understanding for, like, let's say European
Right,
people or
right,
Northern
right.
American people, because it's a very special mix of different cultures, ideas, thoughts, and everything. What I believe and what is my deepest hope that we know that the general sponsor of the terrorism in the Middle East is Iran and its proxies around Syria, Lebanon, Gaza Strip, and other countries. And I've seen a numbers of videos from Iran where local people, young people, are not supporting what regime is trying to force them to do. For example, I saw a video around Telegram. It was circulated when there is a Israeli and American flag on the street, and all of the young people going down by the street, they're not going on these flags. They're just walking around, and they're showing their respect for to these countries which are opposite to their Ayatollah regime, right? And then I've seen right after the operation in Gaza started, this war started. I've seen the video from the stadium in Tehran when somebody from local authorities brought Palestinian flags on the stadium, and they tried to spread it around the people, around the crowd. And what the crowd said, we don't need these flags, and they're against this because Iranian people have a very good memory, and they know very well how before 1979 Israel and Iran were quite a good friends, and Israel supported a lot at that times the Iranian people. And what is more important, a couple of months ago, Riza Pahlavi came to Israel with a historical visit for the first time.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
I could recognize it as a try, as an attempt to change the Middle East. The thing that which was declared by a number of Israeli officials to change the Middle East after this war. So probably we will see maybe an uprising or anything which is very close to the uprising in Iran, because we have not to forget that people there are still fighting for their freedom and democracy, and people are getting women are getting beat up all the time because of they're not wearing hijab or not
Right,
following
right,
the
right.
rule. Yeah. So basically, that's the only thing that I would hope for to change the Middle East right now.
Count me in. But the attack on Israel against the background of the protracted war in Ukraine demonstrates that the world security system needs reforms and changes right here and now. How should the West act? Okay, I'm going to restate my question. If that would be for you to decide, if you would be that powerful in the West, what would be your decision? How would you reform the security system so it wouldn't contain Russia in United Nations Security Council, for God's sake, at least?
I would take as an example the relations between United States of America and Israel, because when the war in Israel started last Saturday, what happens next? The U.S. Navy is coming right next hours after the attack have started, and Joe Biden said that we will support the state of Israel, and that's the way how I believe every country should build its security, finding a strong friend and building a coalition that both will benefit from it. Because we have not, we don't have to think that United States are like a big brother that is always behind the Israel. It is so, but still we have to remember that Israel produces unique weapons, unique technologies that are then used in the United
True,
States and by U.S. military.
true,
And
true.
this is what all the time I'm trying to write in my blog or any post, that Ukraine have a unique potential among its scientists and factories and military factories especially. We have a lot of really interesting things that have been developed for a
Absolutely.
couple of last years. Yes. And this is what we can propose to the West and say, we will produce, I don't know, radars, anti-aircraft system. We have
Right.
scientists. We have beautiful universities back in Ukraine, polytechnical universities all over the country with a beautiful knowledge base.
Oh, I know that
That's
very
what we
well.
have to.
I know that very well
Yeah,
because
because
I've been Jewish myself. I have part of my family and friends and relatives living in Israel. So I know that very well. So I'm going to ask you a question, the last question of our conversation for today,
sure.
that I'm asking myself just as well from time to time. If ever Palestine would come over to Israel and said, let's start something new, do you think this is ever can end up with some sort of a negotiation, some sort of a peace, something that can be built up, because you said that just countries need to benefit from each other? Or maybe when Hamas will be defeated, maybe it will be a different Palestine, but the memory remains, and the scars remains, and the hatred remains. Do you think this is even a way to think, and maybe in 10, 50, 20 years, 100 years maybe? Is that even possible?
I would say the next thing. Couple of weeks ago, I was in Knesset in the Israeli parliament, and we were discussing the issues of Ukraine connected to Ukraine. And right after we walked through the corridors of Knesset, and we've seen the pictures from the first historical visit of German Chancellor to Israel. That was probably, if I'm not missing, in 1952. So it was 7 years after the end of the World War II. And this visit to Israel and establishing relation and ties between Germany and Israel, the Jewish state, was confronted by a lot of Israelis, a lot of those who have relatives or families died or killed in the Holocaust. However, Germany have built to Israel a couple of submarines. They have a very strong military ties for now. And history of both of our countries shows that everything can happen. We know that for decades we had a peace negotiation, a peace deals with the Palestinians, with Arafat, with everyone. We discussed with all of the Arab leaders the future of this land. And the only peace we have with Egypt and Jordan, which keeps the safest border for decades. So we have now peace with other Arab countries, and we see that it is possible. But the time have to pass, and the generation should change.
Right.
Because the pain of the, especially, I would like to highlight the numbers.
Please do.
For 80 years of wars of Israel, 20,000 Israelis have died in the wars and in terror attacks. 20,000. And then in one day, 1,300 people were brutally murdered, killed in their beds, in their homes, apartment. And what we've seen now, this is actually for the first time in the Israeli history, they allowed to show these horrible pictures of what have found on the places of these mass murders. And this is something very, very unique to Israel, because this the victims and their remains are very well protected from the media, not to show and not to bother this very, very harmful thing to their relatives, and not to show the parts of the body, not to make it even more painful for relatives. But for now, for year 2023, we have this date, the Saturday, with 1,300 people already declared dead. And we have up to 150 hostages in Gaza Strip. And we don't know their fate, what will happen to them. So regarding your question, it will take time, but everything is possible in the world if people will think how to live and prosper and not how to build weapons and to kill.
Thank you very much for your answer. Last question. I just can't not asking it. I hear voices that say, oh my God, Israel is at panic. Nothing is happening there. It's a mayhem. The shops are closed. People are running across the street back and forth. There's no food. There's no medicine. Everything is down. Everything is shut and nothing. There's no more Israel almost. Is that true? Is that panic? Is Israeli are in panic?
This is not, I believe that this is not about the panic. This is about the decisions that are taken by the government and the taken by local citizens, because the home front authorities called to people and sent the messages that you have to bring 72 hours for food and packages, water for 72 hours. With no this, so after this message, for sure, people came to stores and bought a lot of products. But however, most of what have been sold in the stores that was sold for volunteers that are now going to every base all over the country and just bringing the soldiers sweets, energy drinks, cigarettes, coffee, t-shirt, everything what they need, even what they don't really need. Because I've seen the messages from my friends who are now moving somewhere around the country with these trucks with food. They met the military men and they said, we don't need, we have everything. We have like dozens of pizza on our military base. We have everything. So basically, people of Israel are very prepared. And for sure, there was no such an accident, a terror attack for years. And the situation now today is equal, according to a lot of political analysts, to 1973, the Yom Kippur War. But still, the people are ready. People know what to do, how to act. Bomb shelters generally opened, and there's a water, hot water, cold water. There are some refrigerators. It depends on the neighbors, how they prepared. So basically, people are just preparing, and they know how to act. So actually, this is the right way of every citizen in the country that is occurred in such situation.
Absolutely.
To know what to do exactly at the moment. Like if you have the home front siren or alarm, you have to know what to do right now.
Ilya, thank you so very much for being online with us. Thank you for being in Israel and for doing the same as Ukraine does for the world. I wish you nothing but victory. Please stay safe, and I hope to hear you soon with us.
Thank you very much for invitation, and God bless Ukraine and Israel, and may both of our people will be safe and happy to celebrate both our victories.